Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and I got a bit of a treat for you. We're going to get some insight into Bilderberg 2019 like never before from the President of the United States of America. He sent his son-in-law on this international meeting of globalists. Sir, can you hear me?
Jason, how are you? It's so incredible. I'm so happy to be here with you, and I did. I sent my little soy boy son-in-law, Jared Kushner, to Bilderberg, and he's going to talk about incredible things. And my good friend Mike Pompeo is going to be there. We're going to have Mike Pompeo there. It's going to be incredible, and they're going to have a great time, and they're going to talk about world events, Jason, like you would not believe. Okay?
I mean, are we going to war with Iran, sir? Is this what this is about?
I hope not.
Guys, I am joined by Eric Jackman, half of what I like to call Jackman and Jackman, as they are a comedy, podcasting, and interviewing duo. They recently, I believe it's Pints and Politics, or Politics and Pints?
Politics and Pints.
Politics and Pints. They did an excellent interview with Tulsi Gabbard, who we're very much hoping to shine in the Democratic debates, and I hope get through maybe the first three rungs into those debates where real questions and answers can be asked. But we're going to get to that in a minute. We've known each other for quite some time now, well over a decade, I believe, right? Right around there?
Yeah, we go back to like 06, 07.
Yeah, it's been that long, and you've stuck in the game. You gained some notoriety over the past couple years as a celebrity Trump impersonator. You do an excellent job. You do a lot of impersonations, but you're also a very well-read and intelligent guy. So what did you think when Bilderberg gets announced / I guess leaked less than 72 hours before the conference, and you see the list? What are your first impressions?
Yeah, so obviously they were strategic in doing that because they don't want as much attention on it as we know. Even though we know the thing's kind of been busted open as far as everyone knows about it, but it's kind of just looking like, oh, this is just a informal meeting. We have the Chatham House rules, and it's just where elites can get together, and captains of industry and media and oil and energy and politics and what have you, and finance, just kind of get a chance to talk off the record. But they obviously did that for a reason. I mean, I know that they know that you guys are going to show up every year, and Dan Dix and other members of alternative media who pursue the Bilderberg and want to get to the bottom of what they're doing there and get them on the record to talk. So obviously that was strategic. But I'm looking at it's funny too, Burmis, now how they do press releases. So it's 67th Bilderberg meeting to take place May 30th to June 2nd, and the key topics to discuss are a stable strategic order, which is very vague, what's next for Europe, climate change and sustainability, China, Russia, the future of capitalism, Brexit, weaponization of social media. So we can get a pretty clear picture of what is on the elite's mind here. And obviously Russia is a really big boogeyman in the closet that these people are worried about and wanting to have some kind of plan if Putin decides he wants to up his game and meddle again, or we don't know what he wants to do, but obviously
that Pootster. Listen,
oh yeah, Putin, he's a very good friend of mine, Jason, okay? He said very nice things about me. There's no evidence he ever killed anybody, okay? From what I understand, journalists in Russia like the way that rat poison tastes in their tea, okay? Okay.
Listen, I'm not supporting Putin by any means or his methods, but certainly Russia has kind of always been against NATO, transatlantic alliances, globalist organizations. You don't see a lot of them throughout history even being as guests. But talking about, things like regime change, our wars in the Middle East, and possibly even warfare against Russia and China, I would love to point to this book here, The New Digital Age by Eric Schmidt, who is another attendee, and Jared Cohen, who is actually attending this year, who is a executive over at Jigsaw / Alphabet. And if you look at this, it says Reshaping the Future of People, Nations, and Businesses. Pick this up in the dollar bin back in 2014. Cohen was actually, First of all, he's on the counterterrorism board, now the National Counterterrorism Board. He also was an advisor to both Condoleezza Rice as she was Secretary of State, and lo and behold, Hillary Clinton afterwards. And if you read this book, it advocates a lot of cyber warfare for regime change. So, speaking to that, do you think, obviously we know the weaponization of social media means censorship. They like to frame that as conservative censorship, but really it's censorship of free thought and ideas that could possibly go viral. Of course, now that you have that, now they're looking again how to make things so they can be seen again. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, how do they take this over? How do they get their agenda passed through? How do they make their stuff go viral? That's what I see. Because last year was taking back the narrative, or they felt they lost the narrative to independent media. And I think this year, aside from the censorship, how can we leverage that for globalist ideas? Just my perspective.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting. And obviously, with China being on the agenda and then the weaponization of social media, of course, as we have seen now in China over the last year, they have the social credit score that they're applying to the citizens. So if, say, you have parking tickets or problems with your credit or X, Y, and Z that can be points against your social credit score, you're then not allowed to ride on public transit in China because they have cameras and everything that's tracking you in real time and able to identify who you are through that. So could it possibly be, Jason, that they're talking about this at Bilderberg in the sense that maybe we try this in the West? Do we try this in America in some way? Do we try it in Canada? Are we going to try it in places outside of China and push it as far as we can and see how much we can get away with it? And then also connecting that to Facebook and social media, further weaponizing that. How far can we keep pushing this thing with censorship? Because they're censoring people on left and right, as we're seeing. People from all sides are getting their social media accounts shut down and deplatformed. So it's not just a right and left thing. This is really an authoritarian hammer coming down on people who think outside of the box and aren't pushing a mainstream narrative. So that they're talking about that at Bilderberg. Obviously, we don't have 100% confirmation of that, but that's going to be something that's on their mind. And obviously, ethics of artificial intelligence. This is something that Andrew Yang in his presidential campaign is talking about so brilliantly, is how we're automating so many jobs away here in America and around the world, of course. And I don't know if you can put the word ethics with artificial intelligence when you look at it big picture and where they want to take it, getting rid of millions of jobs over the next 10 years and automating away people's ability to feed their families and stuff. So, that's all in their mind at Bilderberg.
Automation is inevitable. I'm more worried about autonomous AI systems, especially in not only our defense realm, but in the corporate realm. I think that's a big danger. I think the track trace database system is already here. You look at how much data is taken from your phone. Forget about what you think is on there. ACR, automated content recognition. ASR, automated speech recognition. Multilingual recognition. I go on and on and on. I've done several videos this week on that stuff. And as far as the social credit score in China, I mean, I've told people now for well over a decade, that is the beta test for the New World Order. So again, as they get more entertainment and fashion and, Pop-Tart culture from the United States of America, we move more into their surveillance authoritarian type culture. And we have accepted this, and it's very unfortunate. Wrapping it up here, because I've only got a limited time. Luke's on the ground in Switzerland. We got a couple of videos that we've got to film ourselves. What are your thoughts? What do you think the big moves are not only being made, but what we're going to see within the next 6 to 12 months? Or are we going to see something with Iran, for instance, almost immediately after this, as we've already seen an escalation like no other, and a populace that doesn't seem to care?
Right. Well, this is a Washington Post piece that I'm looking at, so we'll take it with a grain. But Mike Pompeo, who's not on the list at Bilderberg, is headed to Europe. Yesterday, he went to Europe as part of another bid to build up support for the U.S. government's pressure campaign against Iran. But there's one stop en route that is sure to interest those who are more conspiratorially minded, like we are. Pompeo's side trip to Bilderberg. So I just found this out, Burmis. I don't know if you heard that Pompeo is going to Bilderberg. Or
Oh,
not.
absolutely. We've been reporting on it. Well,
Okay.
again, I've been lucky enough to have Aaron Dykes on. I discussed this
Nice.
with Charlie Skelton as well. We're still waiting on his first mainstream piece to get out there. Skelton has done probably more, base work than anybody over the last decade on this.
Oh yeah, for the Guardian, right? He wrote that great piece in the Guardian. I think Pompeo wants to sell Iran to more of the allies, more of your NATO crowd, more of your European Union crowd. He's over there probably trying to build critical support for it. And we know obviously John Bolton is frothing at the bits to get some kind of action going with Iran, some kind of static. And I heard Trump in that mainstream media interview on Fox maybe a week or two ago, and he said, look, the military-industrial complex is a very real thing. He's like, this is a very real thing, okay? And they're very powerful. And look, I don't want war with Iran, okay? I don't want to go to war with them. So I think at Trump's core, man, he does not want war with Iran. He knows that it would be suicidal. It would make Iraq, as my candidate for president Tulsi Gabbard says, it would make Iraq look like Disneyland. It would be 1,000 times worse than Iraq.
People don't realize this isn't Iraq. This is a real deal, 60+ million nation. And let me say this: I did a whole piece on Trump talking about the military-industrial complex, but in that same breath, he not only did not rule out Iran because of nuclear weapons, but then he blatantly lied and said Afghanistan was the Harvard University of terrorism where the hijackers from 9/11 trained. So I did a whole thing on that. I got to cut it short. We're going to do more in the future. In fact, I promise we'll probably end up doing like a 30 to 60-minute live stream together, maybe even this weekend, late night in my free time. I'm going to hit you up after this, so maybe we can get that done, maybe even tonight, my friend. If you're free, maybe we will do that. So if you want to see an extension of that, we might be doing that later as well, guys. Guys, listen. Bilderberg 2019, very underreported, very important, and very downplayed by most of the mainstream and alternative media. So you guys got to get out there and be the change you want to see in the world. Thank you all, and thank you, Mr. Jackman.
Absolutely, Jason. Great to be with you. We'll talk again soon.